So, finally, the Raiders did something that they shouldn't have done in the first place. They never should have been in this position to begin with. Because everybody with any type of football acumen knows that Josh McDaniels, when he did what he did to the Colts, never should have had a head coaching interview again. I will never forget when the Browns stupidly interviewed him and he had the unmitigated gall to tell the owner and the current GM at the time, who I believe was Andrew Berry, that the organization needed to be cleaned out from top to bottom and that he was the man to be in charge. He was going to pick the front office staff, he was going to pick the players, etc. And this man is he's not a good head coach. He's maybe a good offensive coordinator, but he is a horrible head coach. And he's untrustworthy. But let's get into Josh Daniels as far as his coaching career. And let's start here with the Denver Broncos. All right, because in all honesty, he should have been blacklisted. But let's get into it. So on January 11, 2009, the Denver Broncos named McDaniels their head coach, replacing Mike Shanahan. The Broncos introduced McDaniels, who agreed to sign a 4-year, $8 million contract as their head coach in a press conference the next day. Man, this man walked away with a lot of people's money. McDaniels' tenure with the Broncos was marred early on by a controversy involving an alleged trade offer from the Patriots involving the team's quarterback, Jay Cutler, which would have sent Matt Castle to Denver on March 9th. So we were going to trade Jay Cutler. Well, excuse me, not we. I forget. I'm not doing Browns coverage. So they were going to trade, this idiot was going to trade Jay Cutler for Matt Castle. I'm sorry, which one of these quarterbacks is more memorable? Like, unfortunately, Jay Cutler wound up going to Chicago, along with their star wide receiver. For garbage. On March 9, 2009, according to ESPN, a conference call involving McDaniels, team owner Pat Bowlen, and Cutler failed to resolve the issues. Right, because if you're going to give me Jay Cutler for Matt Castle, I'm going to need some number one picks. Either you're going to give me a 2, 3, and 4, or a 1 and a 3. I'll be damned if I trade my franchise quarterback for garbage and get nothing for it. At least Pat Bowlen was a good owner. I mean, they went to they went to 4 Super Bowls and won one under him. So, Cutler said he did not trust McDaniels and the organization following the trade controversy. On April 2nd, 2009, the Broncos traded Cutler and the 2009 fifth-round pick to the Chicago Bears for quarterback Kyle Orton, first and third-round picks in 2009 and the first-round pick in 2010. Okay, at least you got some good value, but Kyle Orton? I mean, you just went from bad to worse. The Broncos started their first season under McDaniels with 6 straight wins. I remember that, including an overtime win over the Patriots in Week 5 before suffering 4 straight losses. In the last game of the season, McDaniels and the Broncos still had a potential playoff berth on the line, but lost to the Kansas City Chiefs 44-24. Denver's third straight home loss to a division opponent. That's because people caught up with his coaching style. I mean, everything is on tape. You keep calling the same plays. People know your tendencies and then they exploit it. That's what happened to the Raiders last year. That left the Broncos with an 8-8 season record. So they only won 2 games after going 6-0. That's pathetic. Controversy surrounding McDaniels for his benching of Pro Bowl wide receiver Brandon Marshall for the game due to disciplinary reasons. Marshall would be traded to the Miami Dolphins after the season. 2010, McDaniels' second season in Denver ended with a 3-9 record. The Broncos lost to the Kansas City Chiefs on December 5th And on the next day, McDaniel was fired by the Broncos. Now, I do understand this is the same idiot who drafted Tim Tebow with their first round pick. Where's Tim Tebow now? We all know about Tim Tebow's career. It went to trash. It went to pot. I'm trying not to curse because the frustration of knowing that you have an owner that is so stupid. Let me save my conversation. The videotaping scandal on November 27th, the Denver Post reported the Broncos were under investigation from the NFL after it was reported that Steve Scarnuccia, the team's director of video operations hired by McDaniels in 2009, videotaped the San Francisco 49ers walkthrough practice during the team's Week 8 game at Wembley Stadium in London, England. The same day, so he thought he could get away with it because he was overseas. The same day, the NFL fined the Broncos and McDaniels $50,000 each, and Scarnecchia was fired as a result of the incident. Why are you firing him? He was just doing his job. Scarnecchia told NFL investigators he acted alone and knew it was wrong to tape the walkthrough practice. He didn't act alone. He probably videotaped it alone, but who gave him no orders? After the rest of the Broncos staff had left the stadium, Scarnecchia later presented McDaniels with the 6-minute video, but McDaniels declined to view it, and it was not shown to any other Broncos staff member, and therefore the NFL determined the Broncos had not gained a competitive advantage from it. I mean, it didn't matter. That I think they were outcoached in that game anyway. And McDaniels is a liar, so I don't believe him. Am I really supposed to believe that some guy, Scarnecchia, just by himself, without any orders or whatnot, just went and videotaped the 49ers walkthrough practice and gave it to McDaniels, and he refused to view it? He did nothing. He turned it down after he came from the Patriots, who are known for videotaping people's practices and hand signals and sidelines and everything. I mean, the Patriots are notorious cheaters under Bill Belichick. I don't care what their former players say. You're not the head coach. You're not the one deflating footballs. You're not the one videotaping teams' practices. An anonymous source alerted the Broncos on November 8th, who conducted an internal investigation before alerting the NFL. NFL security then began its investigation, which included a forensic analysis of the computer from which the recording was later deleted by Scarnecchia. If I'm butchering your name, I'm sorry, bro. Both the NFL and the Broncos determined that McDaniels knew nothing about the incident. Yeah, that's a good lie. However, the NFL fined McDaniels due to the fact that he did not immediately report the incident to the league office as required by policy. The NFL also fined the Broncos, as clubs are ultimately accountable for the conduct of their employees. McDaniels later issued the following statement: "I apologize for not promptly reporting the improper conduct of our video director before our game against the 49ers in London. The actions of this individual are in no way representative of the values and integrity held by myself, our players and coaches, and the entire Denver Broncos organization." You know, these little typical press releases that they get the team presser to write, and then you sign it, and then somebody reads it, and, you know, it's considered to come out of your mouth, but really it's not. "I understand the punishment from the NFL and support its commitment to the integrity of the game. We have addressed the situation internally to assure that nothing like this happens again." According to the Denver Post, the videotaping incident was a major factor in McDaniels' firing a week later. While the Broncos did not deem it something that merited being fired for cause, they considered his failure to report the incident unforgivable. That's because they knew he was lying. They knew he was lying. They knew him and Scarnecchia were lying. So he went on to be the offensive coordinator for the Rams. And this should tell you exactly what other teams that have at least somewhat good ownership, sensible ownership, thinks of McDaniels. On January 18, 2011, McDaniels agreed to become the offensive coordinator for the St. Louis Rams under head coach Steve Spagnuolo. In Super Bowl 23, I'm sorry, that's not 23. Spagnuolo was the defensive coordinator of the New York Giants, while McDaniels was the offensive coordinator of the Patriots. Spagnuolo stated, "I've always recognized that he is one of the top offensive minds in the NFL. We think he is a great addition to our organization." Also, during the same news conference, it was announced McDaniels would have no hand in any personnel decisions. Of course not. He freaking sucks. Following the 2011 season, the Rams fired Spagnuolo as head coach, while McDaniels was under contract for the 2012 season. The Rams informed him that they would not hold him to his contract and he would be allowed to leave. That's because they knew he was garbage. The Patriots then hired McDaniels to act as an offensive assistant coach during their 2011 playoffs and to replace Bill O'Brien as offensive coordinator, quarterbacks coach for the 2012 season. Wow, amazing how history repeats itself. O'Brien left the Patriots after the 2011 season, concluded to become head coach at Penn State, but maintained play calling duties through the Super Bowl. During the 2014 season, McDaniels was part of another championship for the Patriots. Blase, 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 blase. 2 days later, on February 6, 2018, McDaniels was announced as the new head coach of the Indianapolis Colts. However, and this is right here, his career should have been done after this. He should have been a pariah around the NFL outside of New England. However, McDaniels withdrew the position on the same day and announced he had decided to stay with the Patriots. In response to his longtime agent, Bob Lamonte, terminated his representation of McDaniels. Yeah, because he made his agent look bad. Like they had worked out a deal. The contract just needed his John Hancock on it. And then at the 11th hour, after he had hired a full staff and everything, he balked. He balked. He balked. I'd have fired him too. If I was his agent, I would have fired him too. And he never should have got another head coaching interview, let alone a job, but an interview after that. He should have been blackballed because of that. But you know, the Patriots went on to win the Super Bowl, earning McDaniels his third championship as offensive coordinator. And then here we come here to the Raiders. On January 31st, 2022, McDaniels was hired as a head coach of the Las Vegas Raiders. McDaniels' first win with the Raiders was a 32-23 victory against his former team, the Denver Broncos. Throughout the 22 season, McDaniels was criticized for his team's inability to hold leads and close out games. Because if we go back to it, when you have revisionist history, you realize that McDaniels, in the first half, they were killing teams. In the second half, they were getting beat because teams had adjusted defensively and offensively and were able to make second half comebacks. And he wound up blaming Derek Carr for his inability to adapt as a head coach. McDaniels received criticism for Las Vegas' Week 10 loss to the Colts, team led by the debuting interim head coach, Jeff Saturday, who was hired earlier that week to replace the recently dismissed Frank Reich, despite having no previous NFL coaching experience heading into the game. Now, I do understand Frank Reich wound up taking McDaniels' spot, and Frank Reich kept the staff that McDaniels hired because he left them hanging. That's some dirty pool, though, man. He left these offensive coaches and assistants and whatnot hanging. The defensive coordinators, all of them, linebackers coach, he left them all hanging. So Frank Reich stepped in with a hand-picked staff, and he did the best that he could. As a matter of fact, I think the Colts went to the playoffs that same year. But then the following year, they just couple years, they just stank. They stank up the place. Despite the team's performance in that game, Raiders owner Mark Davis expressed his support for McDaniels the next day. The Los Angeles Times sports writer Bill Plaschke suggested in a report that Davis was allowing McDaniels to remain the head coach, not because of the team's performance, but because the owner did not have enough cash on hand to pay his coach a sizable severance package. His first year with the Raiders ended with a 6-11 record and the departure of quarterback Derek Carr, to which McDaniels sabotaged. McDaniels was fired today, or yesterday, finishing his tenure coaching the Raiders with a 9-16 record. See, look at this. 2009, 8-8, second AFC West. The next year, terminated. Then Las Vegas, 2 years, 6-11, third in AFC West, and then 3-5, terminated. This dude has a 9-16 record. Well, sorry, total 20-33 record. No postseason appearances, nothing. This guy's a pariah. He's a pariah. There's no way he should ever have a head coaching job again. You can go run back to New England, go be up under Bill O'Brien again as the offensive coordinator assistant. He blew whatever little chance he had to take over for Bill Belichick because he never should have left for the Raiders, because if he would have stayed, Mac Jones wouldn't be looking like hot garbage. I was really hoping that the Patriots were going to trade him to a better team, Jones, but that didn't happen. He would have still been in New England. This probably would have been Bill's last year, or maybe Bill, there would be no talk of firing Bill Belichick at all. Because, I mean, hiring a defensive coordinator to be your offensive coordinator like he did last year, that was incredibly stupid. Bringing back Bill O'Brien, I mean, you do what you have to do, but from what I understand, Bill O'Brien is no peach to be around. I don't know what's up with the NFL. This nepotism stuff, this recycling garbage coaches, it destroys everything. And you know for sure that it was Tom Brady that kept this franchise alive. I mean, Bill Belichick can coach the hell out of some defense, which isn't hard to do. All you need is really the right players and put them in the right positions. That's not hard to do. But if you don't have a quarterback and a keen offensive mind, what happens is your franchise goes to pot. And those people, they owe Tom Brady, they owe him their lives. Their careers are based around Tom Brady. Show me one Patriots assistant that has went on and has been a mainstay as a successful coach. Yeah, his coaching tree bears rotten fruit. And Josh McDaniels is his prize student. Unfortunately, it took the Raiders 2 years to realize that they made a mistake because they really shouldn't have hired him in the first place. But here we are. And Devontae Adams, now you can stop throwing your helmet into the bench. Maybe the rookie, was it Aiden? I forget his last name, but it doesn't matter. Hopefully he can go out there and get you the ball. Maybe this offense can be rejuvenated. Maybe this team can be rejuvenated. But the Raiders have not made a logical, sound decision ever since Al Davis traded Jon Gruden to the Bucks. They've been on a downhill slide as far as intellectually ever since then. He's picked up where his father has left off. And just like Art Modell, you had to move your franchise because you were cash strapped. It didn't matter that the NFL was kicking you money back from the TV contracts, the merchandise sales, your stadium was selling out. It didn't matter. Bad financial decisions had you cash strapped and you had to move to Las Vegas. Not a sound franchise at all. I thought we were bad. I mean, at least the Lions have finally gotten their stuff together. We're just pathetic, man. All of this is pathetic. But at least they're trying to solve their issues. I don't know what the hell we're doing. Well, All I can say is that it couldn't have happened to a nicer person. So good luck to you, dog.